rivalrous good. For example, if a train is congested, right? If a train is congested, metro or train or local train, and you want to get into the train, but train is so much congested that you cannot board the train. So that is what rivalrous. Consumption by one person reduces its availability to others, right? So this is a rivalrous good, that consumption of by one person reduces the availability for the other person, right? This is rivalrous. A good is considered excludable. And what is excludability? So these are two principles, rivalry and excludability. What is excludability? A good is considered if it is possible to prevent someone from using it. For example, the services, the kind of this prefit test series discussion, right? If you have paid the fees, you will be allowed to sit into the class, or you can join online. But if you have not paid the fees, you have not enrolled in the course, you will be not allowed to attend the discussion, right? So that is excludability. So for example, defense services, you cannot exclude anyone for having defense services, right? Because defense services is for everyone, right? Services of army, policemen, right? So they are non-excludable. So these are the two concepts with respect to public goods and private goods, rivalry and excludability. Now check the third statement. This will give you another information. While public goods are rivalrous but non-excludable, private goods are non-rivalrous but excludable. See, this is the wrong statement here, because public goods are non-rival. Non-rival. Public goods are non-rival. As far as public transport system, these things are considered. Public goods are non-rival but non-excludable. Yes, non-excludable is true. Non-excludable is true with respect to public goods. And private goods are non-rivalrous? No. Private goods are basically rivalrous but excludable. This is also correct, right? So private goods are excludable. You can exclude people from having these goods and services. Non-rivalrous? No, it is rivalrous. Private goods are rivalrous, right? So 1 and 2 are correct. Option A is the right answer here. I hope this question gives you information about rival good and excludable goods, right? So rival, non-rival, excludable, non-excludable. Coming to question number 2. Consider the following statements regarding tertiary sector. Tertiary sector, primary, secondary and tertiary sector of the economy, right? So they are asking about tertiary sectors, which deals mainly with services. Primary sector deals with mining, agriculture, right? Mining and agriculture mainly. Secondary sector mainly deals with industries, and tertiary sector deals with services, right? So it primarily deals with the provision of services rather than goods. Yes, tertiary sector related to services, right? Entertainment industry. Entertainment industry is a part of services, right? So it comes under tertiary sector, right? The tertiary sector does not contribute significantly to the GDP of developed countries. No, developed countries. For example, okay, this statement is incorrect, because tertiary sector does contribute significantly to the GDP of developed countries. For example, this conventional journey of a country or economy of a country is like this. First, primary sector will dominate, then secondary sector will dominate, and then tertiary sector will dominate. This is a general trajectory of an economy. So what happens with developed nation? Developed nations are always here, where services sector dominates their GDP, right? In India also, our services sector dominates our GDP, because it is more than 50%, right? More than 50% of our GDP comes from services sector only, or tertiary sector. But in case of India, we have directly leapfrogged from primary sector to tertiary sector. Our growth of secondary sector is not that much, which we have seen with respect to other countries, right? Other developed nations. So we have directly jumped from primary sector to tertiary sector. Our secondary sector has not grown much, right? As per the it has grown, but it has not grown up to a desired limit, that we can say. So we have leapfrogging in case of Indian economy, right? So this is all about this particular question. So statement 1 and 2 are correct, 3 is incorrect, right? Coming to question number 3. The circular flow of income model typically includes household and firms. You might have heard, or you might have drawn this particular circular flow of income diagram: households and firms. So household provides factor of production, for example, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. This is provided by households to firms, and firms, in response to land, firms gives this rent, factor income, that is rent. In response to labor, they gives wages. For capital, they gives interest, right? And for entrepreneurship, they gives profit. So you might have gone through this particular information: circular flow of income, household and firm. But gradually we include other sectors also. For example, we include here government. We include here financial sector, or financial sector. So government, household, the relationship between government and household, relationship between government and firms. For example, we pay taxes to the government. Government gives subsidy to the households. Same goes with here, right? Firms takes loan from financial sector. Firms deposit their money to financial sector. Same goes with household, right? So this is very crude idea. You have gone through this information in detail. So this is like, and this is completely closed economy, right? Closed economy. Now, when we add external sector to it, it gives the idea of an open economy, right? Then household will interact, government will interact with external economy, firms will interact with external economy, right? Financial sector will interact with external economy. So this is the whole idea about circular flow of income, right? Now consider the question given here. The circular flow of income model typically includes households and firms. Yes, these are two basic entity. The government sector is excluded from circular flow of income. No, government sector is very much included in it. So this statement is incorrect. Coming to statement number 3. The foreign sector is incorporated in extended version of the circular flow of income model. Yes, it is also correct. 1 and 3 are correct. Option C is the right answer here. Coming to question number 4. Consider the following activities. A factory produces machinery. Just see the question first. Which of the above activities contribute to the GDP of a country? So when we are calculating GDP of a country, which of these activities we will include? A factory produces machinery for the local market. Yes, it is correct. Part of its secondary sector, right? A farmer sells vegetable at a local market. Yes, it is correct. An individual sells an old car. So sale and purchase of old car is not included in GDP. So this statement is incorrect. A company, because it has already been included when it was sold for the very first time, right? So now if we will again count it, it will go for double counting, right? So we do not take care of sale and purchase of old commodities, right? Or second hand selling. So this is incorrect. A company manufactures and exports electronics to another country. Yes, exports, right? It is also part of GDP. So 1, 2 and 4 are correct. Option C is the right answer here. Coming to question number 5. Let me erase this first. I hope you got the idea about a circular flow of income, right? Now see the 5th question. Okay, question number 5. So stock variable and flow variable. The question is about stock variable and flow variable. So the things which you can measure at any point of time, that is stock variable. What is flow variable? The things which you measure over a period of time, right? Over a period of time, flow variable. At point of time, it is stock variable. So capital in a factory, stock variable, true. Right now we can measure the stock variable. Right, right now we can measure capital in, for example, Shankar IAS. If we take an example of Shankar IAS Academy, we can measure what is the total value of capital today, right? So capital in a factory, that can be measured. Monthly salary is a flow variable, right? Because we measure it over an entire month, right? So monthly salary is flow variable. Total national saving is not a flow variable, rather it is a stock variable. Total national saving. We cannot measure over a period of time. It is not a value over a period of time. Rather, it can be measured at a point of time, right? So it is incorrect. Statement 3 is incorrect. Water stored in a reservoir is stock variable. At this particular point of time, we can have a value of water stored in a reservoir. So this is correct. So only 3 is incorrect. Answer will be B here. So see, these questions are giving you information about basics of economy, right? For example, we saw what we calculate in GDP, what we don't calculate in GDP. So every question gives you one information. So you have to remember, these are application based questions. Basically, we have seen some of the questions based on facts. Now these are some questions which are based on applications. If you have read some information, now you have to apply your learning here, and then you will be able to answer the question. For example, depreciation. Now this question asks about depreciation. Depreciation helps in matching the cost of an asset with revenue it generates over its useful time. So what is depreciation? For example, this board is there, right? This digital board is there. Now we know that over a period of time, for example, in 10 years, this board will be of no use, right? It will get expired, or we will not be able to utilize the services of this board, or this particular camera, or this particular anything, right? Any goods. So what happens is, over a period of time, we know that in 10 years it will be of no use. But what we will do for accounting purpose, we will deduct 10% every year as a part of depreciation. We will deduct 10% every year, and in 10 years the value will be 0, right? 10 years, 10% we will deduct every year. For example, if this board has cost 1000 rupees, so we will deduct 100 rupees every year. So in 10 years, 1000 rupees will be forgone, right? So we know this is not unforeseen, this is foreseen. We can know, right, that this board can be used only for 10 years. So we are deducting 10% amount every year. This is a very crude idea. Depreciation, just because of depreciation, we have two values of national income, rather two classification, net and gross. So in gross, what we do, we include depreciation. When we subtract this depreciation, that is net value, right? So depreciation helps in matching the cost of an asset with the revenue it generates over a useful time. Yes, this statement is correct. Then depreciation allows the reduction of taxable income, because when we are reducing the value, when we are deducting the value from our stock, right, capital stock, then we can have less tax. We will have to pay less tax. That's why we reduce every year 10% value. So allows for the reduction of taxable income, thereby saving tax for the business. Yes, this statement is correct. Now they are asking about statements which are not correct. So option will be D. Both are correct. So not correct, neither one nor two. Coming to question number 7. With respect to GDP, consider the following statements with respect to gross domestic product, that is GDP. It does not account for the distribution of income among residents of a country. See, what is GDP? Total value of goods and services produced in a domestic territory of a country over a period of financial year, right? So it does not talk about distribution of income among residents of country. So it talks about, it is an aggregate value, right? It is an aggregate value. So it does not talk about distribution of income. So this statement is correct. It includes the value of unpaid work, such as volunteer work and household labor. No, right? It only calculates the value which are paid. Unpaid work is not calculated. For example, services of housewives, they are also not calculated because these are unpaid work, volunteer works. We cannot include these works in calculating GDP. While these works are economic activities, but this cannot be included in calculation of GDP because it is unpaid, right? So this is incorrect. It does not consider the environmental degradation resulting from economic activities. Yes, this is correct. And then we have concept of green GDP and all, because we want to take care of environmental degradation also. We want to penalize those countries who are increasing their GDP at the cost of environmental degradation, right? So this statement is correct. It does not consider the environmental degradation resulting from economic activities. The next statement is it measures both the market value of goods and services produced and the quality of life improvements for the residents. So quality of life improvements is not included here in GDP. That's why we have separate calculation for human development index and all, right? So this is not included. This is not included, the quality of life improvements. So this statement 1, 2 and 4 are incorrect. 1 and 3 are correct. So only 2 are correct here. Coming to question number 8. Consider the following statements about GNP, gross national product. It includes the income earned by a country's resident from overseas investments and exclude the income earned within the country by non-resident. This is the difference between GDP and GNP, right? In GDP, there is a concept of domestic territory. In GNP, there is a concept of residents of the country, right? So GNP talks about residents of country, nationals of country, and GDP talks about territory of country. So whatever is produced in a domestic territory, be it by the nationals of the country or the foreigners of the country, that will be calculated in GDP. But in GNP, what we calculate is, we calculate the value of goods and services produced by nationals of the country, be it in their particular domestic territory or outside their domestic territory, right? So the difference between GDP and GNP comes from NFIA, net factor income from abroad, right? So this statement is correct. It is primarily used to estimate the economic strength of a country based on location-based production. No, it is not correct. Location-based production is calculated by GDP, not by GNP. So this statement is incorrect. So they are asking about correct statement. Correct statement is only one. Option will be A. Coming to question number 9. Question number 9, the difference between real GDP and nominal GDP. Real GDP measures the total value of all goods and services produced using current market prices. Current market prices is nominal GDP. Current market prices is nominal GDP, and price change adjusted over a time, that is from base year, that is real GDP. So real GDP is calculated with respect to base year, so that we can incorporate the effect of inflation also. So that is real GDP. Nominal GDP is only on current prices. So what is the difference? See, for example, if prices has risen, but production has not risen, production has not increased, only the prices has increased. For example, this particular book, if this particular book is of 10 rupees, so it is of 10 rupees, next year it will be of 15 rupees, but quantity remains the same, quantity is only 1, right? Only 1. One book has been produced this year, one book will be produced next year, but the production has not increased, production is constant, right? One quantity this year, one quantity next year. So GDP is what? Value of goods and services. It is not the quantity of goods and services, right? So it is value of goods and services. So what is happening? This year GDP is 10 rupees. Next year GDP will be 15 rupees. You can see GDP has increased. But GDP has increased not because of increase in production. GDP has increased because of increase in the value of this book. So what we do in real GDP, we keep price constant. We just take the changes in quantity. That is real GDP, right? So real GDP is what? Real GDP measures the total value of goods and services produced using price changes adjusted over time. So whatever price has been changed, we adjust it over time, that is, we take from base year. So this is the definition of not nominal, rather it is a definition of real GDP. And this is the definition of nominal GDP, not real. Nominal GDP measures the total value of all goods and services using current market prices. That's why we talk about real GDP more. We don't talk about nominal GDP, because nominal GDP is giving current prices. the GDP calculated with respect to current prices. But actual figure we will be able, actual GDP, actual increase in production, we will be able to know through real GDP only, because when we are keeping prices constant, right? So this statement is incorrect, this is incorrect. Real GDP provides a more accurate measure of economic performance over time. Yes, this statement is correct. So only 3 is correct. Option will be D, 3 only, right? Coming to the next question, consider the following statements regarding national income and personal income. Question number 10, regarding national income and personal income. National income refers to the total income earned by nation's residents from the production of goods and services in a given year. Yes, this is correct. NCERT based definition, right? It is correct. Personal income includes all earnings of individual. Personal income includes all earning of individuals and households from work, investment and other personal sources before taxes. It is also correct. Personal income is always higher than national income because it includes transfer payments such as social security and unemployment benefits. No, this is not correct. Personal income cannot be always greater than national income because we have to see the nature of transfer payments, we have to see the nature of social security, to what extent it is available, social security and unemployment benefits. So national income need not to be always greater than or higher than national income. So this statement is incorrect. Only 1 and 2 are correct. So option B is the right answer. Coming to question number 11. Consider the following statements. Question number 11. Programs that enhances access to education and healthcare are examples of initiatives that promote inclusive growth. Now we have seen development, right? We have seen development, but inclusive growth, we have seen growth. Growth is a quantitative concept. Inclusive growth is a qualitative concept, right? So growth is quantitative term. Inclusive growth or development, when we talk about it, is a holistic term, quantitative as well as qualitative, right? So inclusive growth is part of this health and education are part of inclusive growth, right? So this statement is correct. Programs that enhances access to education and healthcare are example of initiatives that promote inclusive growth. This statement is correct. Now see the second statement. Inclusive growth refers to economic growth. Yes, inclusive growth refers to economic growth that is distributed fairly across society and creates opportunity for all segments of population. This statement is also correct. And statement 2 is explanation of statement 1. So option will be A. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is correct explanation of statement 1, right? Question number 12. Consider the following statements regarding Human Development Index, HDI. So these are the questions. For example, earlier we saw the question of basics, some goods. Then we saw the question based on GDP. Then now we are having some question based on growth and development, right? Coming to question number 12. It is measured on the basis of, HDI, Human Development Index, health, education and standard of living. We have seen this in earlier test, right? So it is measured on basis of health, education and standard of living. In health, we calculate expected year of living, right? Life expectancy basically. So at birth, life expectancy at birth is calculated under health. For education, we calculate 2 parameters. For adults, we calculate mean year of schooling. And for children, we calculate expected year of schooling. Expected year of schooling for children, mean year of schooling for adults in education. And in standard of living, we calculate national income per capita, right? Per capita national income, per capita national income, that is standard of living. So this statement is correct. The health dimension assess the proportion of population having chronic diseases. No. Health dimension, what we calculate is expected life expectancy at birth. Life expectancy at birth. The education dimension assess the employability based on skills gained. No. The education dimension, what we do is we calculate under 2 dimensions. Number 1, expected year of schooling for children. For adults, mean year of schooling, right? So this statement is incorrect. Only 1 is